What up, bros? Welcome back to Throwing Hands. It's me. It's Toby. Toby, I think this was a great card up and down. The Jacksonville crowd didn't disappoint like last time when they didn't even cheer for Volkanovski when he walked out, which I thought was ridiculous. But anyway, this was awesome. I had a fun time watching this.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good card, top to bottom. And of course, the main event and the co-main event too were pretty incredible. So,
Indeed. So we're we're gonna go over quite a few fights, but stick around because Topuria is obviously going to be the main topic of conversation here. But all right. No, I'm just getting some stuff just situated. Boom. All right, let's do this. So, all right. So this one of the I didn't watch this fight. I think Cody Brundage versus Cedric Dumas, but I think that was I didn't even decide this. I was at the gym, but I think I made the right decision to go to the gym.
yeah, man, Cody Brundage, he did not show up for this fight. That was not Cody Brundage in there. I don't know who was in there, but he did not want to be there. It was frankly kind of pathetic just to watch that type of performance out of the guy. I thought he was going to retire after that. Like his face just looked like he was done, man. It was weird.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Jamal Emmett versus Jack Jenkins. This was a good fight. My thing with this was you could argue Jenkins won the first two, I think. Um, and then the round three was definitely Randy Brown, I thought, especially with the takedown. But it was a close fight. I don't get why people are saying robbery personally. I don't know. What do you think, Toby?
I did think Emmers won that fight. I wouldn't call it a robbery. You know, there have been some fights like Diego Sanchez and oh, who's that guy that he fought way back in the day? It was a terrible decision in Albuquerque. But yeah, I don't think this was a robbery. It was a close fight. You know, you could, like you said, make an argument for Jack Jenkins winning two of the rounds. Personally, I did think Jamal Emmers did enough to win that fight, though.
I did too, but it is what it is. Solid fight though. This wasn't a fight. Trevor Peek versus Chepe Mariscal. This was a bar brawl. That Chepe got the best out of Peek on that one. He came out on top. I felt like Mariscal was trying to fight like cleanly, but Peek doesn't fight cleanly, and Peek definitely dictated the style of this fight, I'd say, but Chepe adapted, and I think he clearly won this fight.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was Dominic Cruz, maybe DC. Someone mentioned that he's been sparring with Justin Gaethje a lot. So I think that really helped him just being able to stay composed under pressure like that.
Oh yeah,
Uh, I mean, when you've got a brawler like Gaethje, who is still very technical, it forces you to have really good defense in the pocket and just be a technical brawler. I think that's what they introduced him as, was a technical brawler. So I thought it was a really good performance by Chepe here.
yeah, he looked great. I think he usually fights at 45 too. So I mean,
Yeah.
shoot,
But
he
dude,
can fight, man.
But
Chepe can't.
Trevor Peak, that was it. Looked, there were
It
so many
looked bad.
times. Yeah, there were so many times where it looked like he was like, "Oh man, do I have to do this again?" And then he would just charge in with like a bunch of reckless overhands and get caught and chinned multiple times, and he'd just be like, "Oh, come on." But
Yeah, I mean, he got
poor guy.
caught a lot in this fight, so I don't really know, dude. He has to change something up because he this style of fighting is not sustainable for someone's livelihood. So I don't.
No,
I think he might have to change some things.
no,
All right,
you can't just bank on getting fight of the night bonuses every time.
no, absolutely not, because that didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying.
We'll talk about that fight on the night thing. I think that's a decent discussion at the end of this. But Joshua Van, the dude's 21. He's younger than I am, and he's your age, isn't he?
Yep, yep.
That's he looked fantastic against Zalgas.
That was a very impressive performance from Joshua Van. Like we were talking about in the preview for this card, Zalgas, he's pretty good. I mean, he's faced a lot of high level competition, and he's not like an aggressive finisher or anything, but he's a very skilled fighter. And I thought Joshua Van put on a fantastic performance in this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if the weight cut got to Zalgas. Like he had to cut weight twice in what 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah,
So that's not optimal. But this was not a split decision. Let's be honest here. I thought Van won that pretty handily. I didn't see. I could see one round for Zalgas, maybe the first.
yeah.
Other than that, Joshua Van, I thought he won handily. And yes, the strikes were close to the third, but Van was landing the more the significant stuff. So I think the sky's the limit for Joshua Van, honestly, man. I mean, he's 21. Look what he did to, I mean, Zalgus is like 34, something like that. He beat up a grown man.
Yeah, I think he's a really fantastic injection of new talent into the flyweight division. And I think flyweight is slowly becoming a really, really good division. For a long time, the UFC has kind of been pushing it to the side, and understandably so, because you look at some of the pay-per-view numbers for Demetrius Johnson fights, they're not great. But I think flyweight's always been really entertaining to me. And I think, it's just good to get some recognition and get new guys in there like this.
Yeah, and Figueiredo had missed weight again and won the fight. The division probably would have been cut.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and honestly, someone like Steve Ursag coming in and beating David Dvorak too, huge for the division, I think.
Great. Yeah.
Um, great. Sky's the limit for Joshua Van, guys. Keep an eye on him.
Yep.
All right, Tabitha Ricci versus Jillian Robertson. Kind of what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tabitha Ricci looked really good, and she managed to keep Jillian Robinson from getting any offense going on the feet or on the ground. Ricci's talented, man. I think she can definitely make some headway in that division. What were your thoughts on this one, man?
Yeah. Ricci looks really good. I think like the whole time Dean Thomas in Jillian Robertson's corner was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" It was not a great performance from Jillian Robertson. But then again, I mean, she's never really been a striker or anything, so it's not
No.
surprising that she was getting beat up on the feet like that. And she kind of just has to go for these Hail Mary submission attempts. And with someone like Tabitha Ricci, we talked about this before. It's just not. It can work on some people, but someone with good takedown defense and someone who also has good submissions, another high level black belt, I believe. I think she's a black belt.
Yeah, she has
But
black belts in judo and jujitsu.
yeah, like I mean, you can't bank on only being good at jujitsu against someone like that.
Yeah,
So
uh, yeah. Ricci has. I don't know. I zoned out for a second, but Ricci has black belts in jujitsu and judo. So it's like, yeah, she's good everywhere, man. Let's take a look at the rankings real quick. I think they need to set her up as somebody pretty high up.
yeah, what is that?
Um,
Four wins in a row now for?
I believe so. Let's take a look.
And strawweight, that's impressive. Strawweight's easily the best women's division.
Strawweight's dense. Yeah, she beat Jessica Penne. She beat Polyana Viana, and she beat
Huh?
Maria Oliveira, and she lost to Manon Fioto in her
No,
debut going
no
up a
shame
weight
in that.
class.
No
No
shame in
shame
that.
in that. So, um, so it's just if Hebus wants to come back down, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I would like that fight.
That's a good step up. And Andrade is fighting Tisha Torres, I think. So
Oh, really?
no, Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana
Oh,
Suarez.
yeah. Dude, Tisha
Man,
Torres, man. She's a fun
dude,
fighter to watch.
yeah. Yeah, Tiny Tornado. Yeah, I think Tisha Torres is pregnant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she and
Dude,
Raquel Pennington are having a kid.
one of my favorite fights is Mackenzie Dern versus Tisha Torres because
It's a good fight.
dude, she jumps like she pushes off the wall, jumps midair, and locks onto a Kimura midair. I was like, I've never seen that before. It was super
Didn't
awesome to see
Dern win
that.
that one?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought Torres won that. That was a close fight.
It was close. I just love that sequence where she just jumps like a flying Kimura. It's like
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. Shout out Tabitha Ricci, man. Someone to keep an eye on in that division.
Yep,
Okay,
100%.
Mateusz Rebecki, dude. This dude was just blasting leg kicks. He
Yeah,
got him
man.
out of there halfway through the second round. Those leg kicks looked brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also crazy. This was a lightweight fight. I mean, these guys look like they're
They look
huge.
jacked.
They're ginormous. They're also not super fast or explosive like lightweights typically are. It looked more like a middleweight fight or something, but
That's what I thought.
I mean, it was fun though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are two just yoked dudes, but I think Rebecca can actually make some uh headway in this division. I mean, he punches hard too. He put Radzabov on his butt. I mean, his leg was compromised, but he made it look painful to fight him.
He's a powerful guy for sure. And he's got like surprisingly good cardio for how big he is and how hard he throws.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he may have gassed a little bit in like his debut, but he still fought through it. Like he was still pressuring, or maybe his second fight, but he was still pressuring forward and throwing shots. So,
Yeah,
you know,
he did. Great stuff. Um, this is not a great fight. Yes, Wellington Turman had more total strikes, but I feel that Randy Brown got the job done. And Wellington Turman always has a tough time against these tall, lanky dudes, and that's the reason he came down from middleweight. But then he
yeah,
fought the lankiest dude in the division outside of Kevin Holland, maybe. So I don't
it was
know. It was a rough stylistic matchup for Turman.
it was a tough matchup. And like you said, it was a bit of an underwhelming fight. I was really expecting a lot more out of this one. Randy Brown, Wellington Turman seemed like it was a good matchup on paper. I thought it was going to be a barn burner. It didn't
Agree.
quite deliver, and I wasn't overly impressed with either one of the guys. I mean,
No.
it was, you know, they looked all right, but
Yeah. It was all right. There's not much to say there. Not much to say in this one. This was boring. I mean, it's Neil Magny, man.
yeah, man. I thought Philly Rowe, I thought he was going to really bring it and try to put the pressure on, go after Magny's body and go after his legs and, really try to get him out of there. But, just kind of a boring fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing much
And
happened.
the thing is, if you pressure Neil Magny like Max Griffin did in this fight, it's a barn burner. But
Yeah,
it just Philly Rowe had all the tools to do it.
yeah,
I don't
yeah, he
know.
did.
This was a golden opportunity for Philly Rowe, honestly, man. Because
I think he blew it a little bit.
yeah, he blew it. It was the number 11 guy, man.
Yeah,
All right, main card, main card. Brendan Allen, man, this dude's legit. I mean, first round submission against Bruno Silva. Now Bruno Silva doesn't have great defense. However, dude, he looked great. He
yeah,
looked fantastic.
yeah, he did. Yeah, even when Silva was like pressuring forward, he looked pretty good. He was throwing big strikes, and Brendan Allen just stayed composed in the pocket there. He wasn't phased by the big shots that were coming his way. He landed some nice counters. He stunned Bruno Silva a couple of times on the feet, and that's what set up the finish ultimately. And when he got him down, I mean, it was a wrap. We talked about this. When Brendan Allen gets you down, and especially when he takes your back, like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's it, man. A lot of times, like you're not getting out of that.
Yeah, Brendan Allen's one of the last dudes you want to have on your back in the whole sport, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
but let's take a look what's next for Brendan Allen to be. I think I who called him out? Roman Dolidze called him out,
That's a great fight.
but Brendan Allen's like, no, I'm looking top 5, and you declined me earlier. And then Dolidze was like, well, I accepted at another point in time, but I got COVID, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the fight to make. That'd be, dude, the grappling on the ground in that fight would be awesome.
I think the Delite fight actually makes the most sense out of anybody right now. I think Delite is the perfect matchup for him. It's like a reasonable step up in competition. Um, and like, yeah, it's going to be a great grappling match. Was he against Hermanson where Delite had that? What? It wasn't
It
a
was like a
calf
calf
slicer.
slicer
It was a,
pin.
yeah, it was really incredible. So, yeah, I would really love to see that matchup.
Yeah. So, or just feed Derek Brunson to him, and
Yeah.
I'd be down for that fight.
Yeah, I think
We'll
at this
see.
point, after the Cannoneer finish, oh man, I think Brunson would probably get destroyed in that fight. Unfortunately, I like Brunson too. He had a
Yeah.
fun little run there, but,
Hmm.
but
I mean, middleweight's popping right now, man. Kennedy and Vittori just fought. Whitaker's gonna fight Drakus. Robert, please do
yeah,
something. Um, Alex Pereira's moving up. Sean Strickland's fighting a boost this weekend. Yeah, well, top seven's pretty occupied right now. And Paulo Costa's fighting Aliskirov. So
yeah.
interesting stuff.
Speaking of that Strickland main event, I was actually when I was looking at Abus's record, I didn't realize that he only had one fight in the UFC.
Yep, that was in
Just the
France last year.
Yeah, just the fight against Stoltzfus. I thought he had more for some reason. I mean, he's had some pretty high level experience. He had a lot of fights in PFL. I know he beat Sadabu Sai or C in PFL. So, clearly he's a very talented fighter, but
Yeah,
man, just one fight
he
in and getting the number 7 guy in a main event.
I honestly think they're just trying to get some guys who want to wrestle in the in the middleweights, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Yeah.
And there's no Dagestani talent in this or any talent from that part of the world.
Yeah.
So, we'll they're marketable. I don't blame them for trying to do that. And Sean Strickland will fight anybody, so the
Yeah, for sure.
perfect guy
Yeah.
to give.
But that's why I actually think Brendan Allen is a really interesting matchup for a lot of these top guys because so many of them are mainly strikers and he presents a lot of danger to them. Maybe even on the feet a little bit. His striking is rapidly getting better and his
Yeah,
grappling is clearly very high level. So I think he could give a lot of these top guys some problems.
yeah. I also think if Andre Muniz can get himself together, I think he can be a problem in that division too because his grappling is really good as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So lots of interesting stuff in middleweight, guys. But ooh, David Onama sent this dude to another dimension. Gabriel Santos, man, Onama's good, man. I think he's really put himself together. As of late, that uppercut was gnarly.
That was a beautiful knockout. And I will say too, Gabriel Santos actually looked really good in that fight.
He did,
And he was kind of putting it on Onama for a bit, but that counter, man, was just a thing of beauty by Onama.
yeah. So look, Onama's a guy to keep your eye on, guys. Oh, this was grody, bro.
Oof.
30 seconds in, Austin Lane poked Justin Taffa's eyes. I don't think I've seen that. That was one of the worst eye pokes I've ever seen. That was horrible. Oh,
Yeah, it was a gruesome eye poke. I mean, he was bleeding out of his eye. It was just nasty. You saw the replay, and his whole finger, all the way to the back knuckle, was inside of his eye. Like he was basically touching his brain. It was disgusting. One
it
of the
was
worst eye
bad.
pokes you'll ever see, for sure.
And the crazy thing is, during the what card was that? The Izzy Pereira 2, um, or 4. They that week they got new gloves to like make the fingers curl a little more. And I honestly haven't seen as many eye pokes since they did that. It was a very preventable thing.
Yeah, I think they should definitely. They got to figure out a way to get new gloves. Like these gloves are just. People are way too susceptible to eye pokes.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first. I feel like this is the first eye poke I've seen in a minute because they did introduce those new gloves.
Yeah.
I remember Burns like put it on his Instagram or something. But yeah, I mean, oh, that was brutal. I don't
Yeah,
even want to talk about it anymore.
there's just been too many fights like that. Like the Bilal against Leon fight. Like there's just
Yeah,
been too many really bad eye pokes
I
that have
mean,
stopped bad or good fights.
Bilal's been really determined to fight Leon Edwards again.
We'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
Let's be honest, Bilal was getting beat up in that fight pretty badly.
Yeah, I think Leon was going to take it to him, but I wouldn't fully count out Bilal in a fight against Leon at this point. I think his striking's getting a little better. His
Mhm.
wrestling's always going to be there. He's a tough guy. I think I wouldn't go as far as that he'd win that fight, but I think he has a shot.
Yeah, he has a shot. He
It,
has a
it's like
shot.
it's like a Yair versus Volk situation. Like, don't count him out, but don't bet on him. Like, I wouldn't favor him, but or anything, but
Yeah,
don't count him
I
out
I
though.
think I think Yair's Volk's toughest matchup, to be honest,
Yeah, probably at this point. Yeah,
especially with the kicks. But we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. Um, fight of the performance in the this was a banger. I watched. I didn't get to watch this fight because I was working, but I got to watch the main event, guys. Don't worry. But this was a banger, and Macy Barber, she put it on in the second round, man, and got to work.
yeah. This was a brawl, man. I mean, just from the beginning, it was a brawl. There was one shot. I think it was maybe a left hook that Macy Barber landed that just destroyed Hebos's nose. I mean, it popped it. It was bleeding everywhere, messed her up badly. I think her breathing was really affected by that. And Macy Barber also landed that left high kick over and over. It was beautiful the way she kept landing it. And shout out to Hebos because she took like multiple shins to the side of the head, but there was one that just caught her right on the side. And Barber could tell that she was rocked. Even though Hebos was throwing back and trying to play it off a little bit, she was hurt. And Barber just rushed in for the finish. And that's something I really appreciate because a lot of times in women's fights, especially in the lower divisions, they'll hurt someone, they'll hurt their opponent, and they don't really rush in for that finish. And I think, Macy Barber really showed like killer instinct in this one. She saw that her eyes were a little bit off, that she was rocked, and she went in and she got that finish. I was really impressed by Macy Barber.
Yeah, let's take a look at the rankings for women's flyweight. Macy Barber. She'll move to the top 10. Oh, wait. Catelyn Chikagian changed her name? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Sermonara. There you go.
I had no idea.
I did not know about that.
So Fyodor's fighting Nami Yunus. Shevchenko's gonna rematch Grasso on September 16th. Blanchfield and Tyler Sanchez are fighting. Andrade is fighting. Uh shoot. Why not Sermonara? That's weird to say.
Yeah.
Why not Sermonara, man? I don't see why not.
Yeah, Caitlin. We'll just say Caitlin. Yeah. No, I
Catelyn,
think
yeah.
that's a good matchup, and that's the litmus test in the flyweight division. If you look at Caitlin, if you look at her record, she has fought everybody that was the like new prospect, the hot new thing at flyweight, and she was the litmus test for them. So yeah, I think that's the matchup that makes the most sense because someone like Lauren, I mean, she's still a pretty good fighter. Someone like Lauren Murphy, she is not at this point in her career should not be
No.
the number 7 flyweight in the world.
That
Like,
fight should have been stopped against Andrade, bro.
yeah,
Like
like
that was a beat down.
yeah, she's been getting beat up. I mean, her most recent win that I can remember is over Misha Tate, which is like that's not really saying a whole lot either. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, her only losses outside of Shevchenko have been to Andrade and Fior.
yeah, that Andrade one was nasty too. That body shot where she just screamed in pain and turned around.
Yeah, like she just went, ah.
Yeah.
Although she should have gotten a title shot after knocking off Arujo, Calvillo, Maya, and Hebus in 4. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I would agree with that. She probably should have gotten the title shot,
Yes.
but
So
no,
I
I mean
think
flyweight is looking pretty good though. The division is rounding out nicely. There's some newer, younger fighters that are coming up. You got like Casey O'Neill, Andrea Lee, Manon Fior. I mean, it's pretty good. It's looking good.
mhm. So she's still Chikagian on Wikipedia. Oh,
She has a
interesting.
maybe
Oh,
she got
she
married. I
took her
don't know.
spouse's name. Okay, good for her.
Huh.
Um, happy marriage. I don't know if she was married before, but hey, good for her, man.
Yeah,
Um, whoa, our guy got it done. And yes, I think I predicted second round submission or something. You predicted something. You predicted the finish too.
yeah,
I found this to be far more impressive. This was insane. He Ilya Topuria put on a absolute clinic against Josh Emmett. Masterclass in MMA boxing, defense especially. I was thoroughly impressed with defense, rolling with everything, stepping out of range, and he was throwing counter combos rather than just a counter shot. This was beautiful. What were your thoughts on this?
yeah. I thought this was just an unbelievable performance. I mean, there's not enough good things that I could say about Ilya Taporia after a performance like that. Like you mentioned, this is arguably more impressive than any finish that he could have gotten because we saw that he had the cardio over 5 rounds to just put a beating on a guy. And he took a couple good shots too. I mean, there were a couple times that Emmett landed some big shots and he took them well. But other than that, he rolled with everything. He was in and out beautifully landing counters and then evading quickly, moving off the center line. He was diverse with his strikes. I'm like, there's just not enough good things I could say. It was one of the best performances I've seen in a long time, really. I mean, it was
This,
unbelievable.
for me, it was probably the best since Holloway versus Cater.
Yeah, yeah,
Like an in octagon performance like that. Just look, we can discuss this now. I think but I cannot stand when commentators or fans say Josh Emmett's so tough. He has so much. I'm like, he just got beat down.
yeah.
And if his corner had any responsibility, they would have stopped that after the 4th round.
They 100% should. I was just thinking that they should have stopped that fight. Absolutely. He had no shot of coming back. I know that he has like one punch knockout power and he's always dangerous, but he wasn't ever even close to hurting Topuria or damaging him really at all. I mean, you look at Topuria's face after this fight, it looked like he wasn't even in a fight. So I think the responsible thing would have been to have stopped it. But
Yeah, and when Topuria got him down at the end of that fourth round. If that had gone 10, 15 more seconds, the fight would have been over anyway. But I was watching that like the last minute and a half of that, and when Topuria, like when Emmett was like framing to get up, and Topuria just went like put him back down on the ground. That like he let's talk about Josh Emmett real quick. Dude, I honestly think he's just hanging up, man. He's not getting back to the title.
I thought he was going to, frankly. I thought he was like taking his gloves off to retire in there because when you take a beating like that, it makes you contemplate a lot of decisions in your life. And I was almost expecting him to hanging up right there. And he's had a good run in the UFC, very exciting guy, has some of the best finishes you'll ever see. But yeah, I don't really see a path back to the title for him. He's very one-dimensional. In this fight, you saw it a lot. He did the same thing that he did against Yair, where his idea of closing the distance is three straight right hands running at the guy. That's just not an effective way to close distance, especially on a guy that moves as well as Topuria and has the defensive capabilities that Topuria has. So he just has to evolve. And at 38, 39 years old, I just don't see it happening.
Here's the thing you mentioned about Topuria's defense. Before that fight, I didn't think he had that in him. Like
Yeah.
with like when it comes to fight improvement, you don't see improvement like that usually. But we'll get back to Topuria in a sec. For Josh, if he does want to fight again, which I really hope he doesn't, I think Giga Chikadze is a good one. Movsar is a good one. I wouldn't be mad at Arnold Allen versus Josh. I mean, I think that has fireworks all over it.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
yeah, I don't.
what has Giga been up to? I feel like I haven't heard from that guy in a while.
Since Cater taught him a few
Oh my
things.
gosh.
That was a
That
beatdown.
that is one of my favorite fights of all time, especially when Cater was basically just like had his fists together and it was just throwing elbows like this, just walking forward. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
incredible to watch. I
Cater
love that
wasn't
fight.
I didn't think Cater was gonna be the same after that Holloway fight, but man, he looked good.
He just took what Holloway did to him and transferred it to the next guy. So maybe we'll see Giga come back and just absolutely slaughter the next guy that he fights. He's just passing that on.
I love Giga Chikadze, man. I hope he comes back soon. He's a fun one to watch. But
Yeah.
what are we gonna do with this Ilya dude, man? I am, people are saying, oh, we should fight Arnold Allen. Oh, we should wait for Holloway. No, give this man a title shot. There's no fresh challenger for Alexander Volkanovski right now. If he beats Yair, he has no fresh challenger. Let's say he beats Yair handily. Why don't they put Volk down in Australia and have Topuria fight him there? Topuria has what? That'd be like 3-4 months. I
Yep.
I that has to be the optimal option here for the UFC. And the thing is, I don't see Topuria having too much of a challenge against Arnold Allen on the ground. What's Ortega gonna do to him on the feet? Yair, yeah, he has kicks, but if Ilya gets a hold of him, Holloway grappled him. So it's like I don't. I think Volk's the only for me personally outside of Holloway in Spain. Like Topuria said, Volk is the only option personally.
No, I 100% agree. I think Topuria deserves that title shot. And even if you look at his opponents, maybe they're not all top five, top 10 guys, although Josh Emmett is a top five guy. But you look at, he's fought jujitsu guys like Ryan Hall. He fought Bryce Mitchell, two guys with phenomenal jujitsu, took them both out. He's fought Jai Herbert, a lanky, tall striker who presents a lot of danger to him. And he got hurt in that fight and still finished him in spectacular fashion. He's now fought a stocky wrestler. He's fought basically most of the styles that you can encounter in the featherweight division. So what else is there for him to prove?
Yeah,
I think he deserves the shot.
and especially like you know Bryce Mitchell, top tier grappler in the division. Jai Herbert, I mean, I think he has the longest reach in the lightweight division. Knocked him out, and
Yeah.
Topuria is an average featherweight, I think, when it comes to his size.
Yeah.
Um, Emmett, a power puncher, like just someone who can with a one hitter quitter power and the wrestling, like you mentioned. Ryan Hall, I mean, no one's better at jiu-jitsu than Ryan Hall. Let's like if anyone rolls on the ground, I mean, Hall can win rounds on the bottom. That's how good he is with jiu-jitsu. Yusuf Zalal, young prospect. I mean, he put Damon Jackson into another dimension.
And even a guy like Damon Jackson, you look at his fight with Pat Sabatini, he put the work on Sabatini. Damon Jackson's a good fighter, man. I
He's
mean,
French top 15. Like,
yeah, like I think I think Topuria's proven what he needs to prove to get that title shot. I think he's ready. I think he's one of the most well-rounded fighters in the whole UFC, not even just the featherweight division, in the entire UFC, in the entire sport of MMA, frankly.
Yeah.
And obviously Volkanovski is as well. I think it's just a perfect matchup at the right time. And like you said, if Volk does beat Yair, what's next? You're going to do Holloway again? You're going to do Ortega again, out of nowhere, or like
Mhm.
who else is up there?
Yeah, and Makhachev's gonna fight Charles again, probably.
Yeah.
So like what do you want to see? That's and someone said, let's have arguably the number one pound for pound fighter in the world fight the most exciting young undefeated prospect.
Do it, man. We got to
Do
do
it.
it. Don't
Like,
don't wait too long until Volk loses or he's too old or this that. Do it right now when the iron's hot and strike, man. I want to see that fight more than maybe any fight right now in the UFC, to
yeah.
be honest.
And
Well, besides Poirier and Gaethje, but
oh, oof, I can't wait for that. But if we're being honest, I think Yair's going to present challenges in the first round for Volkanovski. But I think when it gets to the second round, Volk manages to find his range. I think he's just going to take him down and just get to work. So I I I hope we're right about that.
yeah.
And we see Topuria versus Volk because it's not the fight we want. It's the fight we all need to see. And then dude, he is I can't put into words how good this dude is. I mean, 171 significant strikes, 3 of 3 on takedown attempts, and Emmett can grapple, guys. He recently garnered that one hitter quitter power. 152 significant strikes, and Topuria took 89 total strikes, only I think 43 to the head, but they all rolled off.
Yeah, and
Like
let's be honest with that. 89, he did not take 89 strikes. I mean, come on.
it doesn't feel like it. Oh,
Maybe if that's what the analytics says, okay. But a lot of those strikes, yes, he rolled with them. They grazed off him. He was not hit clean. Maybe three, four times he was hit clean in that fight.
and how many leg kicks did Ilya Topuria just blast into Josh Emmett? Like, dude,
Yeah.
that looked painful. Especially there was one, I think you and I talked about it, where he was leaning forward right as Topuria was throwing it. And
Oh, it's
I
horrible.
went, oh, like I was in the press box watching it before the baseball game.
Yeah.
And I just like bit my teeth. I'm like, ow, like that had to have hurt so badly.
Dude, it was a crushing blow. And you know what shocked me about Josh Emmett? I guess maybe not shocked, but he he didn't go for the leg kicks himself. Like a lot of times, Josh Emmett is at a serious height disadvantage, but this time, him and Topuria, I think, are the same height. They're both like 5'7", and so Emmett, he could have definitely, and he should have targeted the legs because if there's maybe one weakness that Topuria has is that he does have a very boxing heavy stance, and he stands very heavy on that lead leg, and he pressures forward a lot. And so Emmett could have done well to target that leg, but he just didn't do it. I mean, he landed like one leg kick and then just did not throw it
The
again.
crazy thing is, according to the analytics, Josh Emmett landed 18 leg kicks,
There's no
only
way.
one less than Topuria.
There's just no way that he landed that many leg
It,
kicks, man.
I just think Topuria checked them all.
Yeah, see they never make that distinction though. You look at some of these fights and guys will just check leg kicks repeatedly, and then you check the stats after, and it's like, oh, this guy he landed 30 leg kicks. I'm like, well, he checked like 18 of them. So it's like, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
Topuria checked a lot, and or they just grazed off him.
yeah, and yeah, the Topuria. If that fourth round didn't end, Topuria was getting him out of there.
Yeah,
That was a filthy round. But
yeah,
dude, the skies. You and I were talking about this after the fight, and it's like I think we are bearing witness to someone who is going to be truly great, and it's absolutely incredible to see. I think.
yeah. You usually don't see this type of talent, who just so well rounded in every area of the game. I mean, you'll see guys come in. You see a guy like Izzy who is just an incredible striker, or you see a guy like Habib who is an incredible grappler. And yeah, they have the other tools there, but someone like Topuria who's just the grappling, the striking, the defense, it's just everything about this guy is just so good.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more.
something that stuck out to me so much in this fight was Emmett, when he was coming into the pocket, he would plant his feet really hard and he would
Yes.
wing big shots. And Topuria would just take a little back step and then he would blast him with counters. And Topuria, that's what he was doing so well, was that he was moving in and out of the pocket, whereas Emmett was just very stationary. And that's why he got so many leg kicks blasted into him. And that's why he got hit with so many counters, was because he was
Mhm.
not moving in and out of the pocket well. Whereas Topuria was always, like Dom pointed this out, was taking that little two hop step. It was
And
really nice.
Emmett's corner was telling him to counter the leg kicks with an overhand, but Topuria was just so wise, so he'd back out of the way and just throw like a hook around
Yeah.
the overhand.
Yeah.
It That's the thing with Josh Emmett is he is so projected. Everything is 100%,
Yeah.
and it's just I love Josh Emmett's a great dude. I honestly love to hang out with the guy, but I don't. There's nothing that tells me he can get back to a belt. So
No, I mean, frankly, I thought his corner advice was pretty terrible. His corner kept telling him, like, yeah, keep throwing that overhand, like you'll land it eventually.
yeah,
Just
that's
like, like your right is so powerful. It's like, dude, you got to give him better advice than that. Talk about throwing the leg kicks. Talk about what about the left high kick or left body kick, where like another maybe slight weakness, and I wouldn't even say it's a weakness, it's just really a part of Topuria's movement, is that he'll dip off to the side a lot. And you saw it with Jai Herbert. Herbert landed that big left head kick that dropped him. Emmett almost landed a good high kick and then never threw it again. He threw that
no,
lead high kick and then just never threw it again. So his corner should have been spotting those things. And you got like Danny Castillo in his corner, good people that are good fighters in his
yeah,
corner, and they just were not giving him proper advice on how to win that fight.
yeah. What's Emmett's camp again?
Is he a Team Alpha Male guy or no?
Yeah, he is Team Alpha Male. That's
Yeah,
right. And it's
yeah.
like, yeah, you make a good point. It's like you have great guys in your corner.
And they're not telling him to wrestle. Now, granted, I don't think he would have been able to hang with Topuria on the ground either, but it's at
No,
least something that you should throw in there to get him thinking a little bit
faint
about
it.
the level change. Just feint it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff. But we have some drama in the PFL. Like, okay, so I don't know if you guys know what happened, but this is filthy moves from the PFL. So Shane Burgos was not going to make the playoffs. He wasn't, based on the result of another fight. But PFL said, nope, that fight was boring. We're going to put Shane Burgos in instead of the winner.
Yeah. Well, and a little more context on that. The
Yeah,
two guys that fought each other were longtime teammates. I think one of them was actually the godfather of the other guy's children. So they were extremely close. And they, for months, were like, we do not want to fight each other. We're too close. It's just, we don't want to do it. And they still agreed to it. But the PFL is basically saying that they signed a contract to fight and give it their all. And they only fought at like 10% of their abilities or something. I do think that's a really pretty dirty move by the PFL to do that because regardless of how boring or exciting the fight was, the guy won.
was it was Natan Schulte versus
Yeah,
Raush Manfio.
man, yeah, yeah.
Like, dude,
And I
what do
mean,
what do you expect?
I don't know if you caught the Burgos fight either, but it's not like Burgos went in there and put on a war either. It was a wrestling heavy grappling decision. Like he just came in there, took the guy down multiple times, and held top position. Like it was not an exciting fight at all. But
Yeah, he 30-26'd him. But yeah, that was gross. Like,
yeah,
I
it's pretty
get
messed
you.
up.
I get Shane Burgos is kind of like your new cash cow, and every other person in your promotion's been suspended due to the
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah,
Like
basically.
Rob Wilkinson, Tiago
Thiago Santos.
Santos. You brought in Santos to bring in people to bring in eyes.
Yeah,
But I get it. But at the same time, you have to just let it happen. And here's what I think. I think this was a shill because they knew these two guys weren't going to fight, and they're like, "Huh, wait, we put this clause in the contract that says you must perform the best of your abilities, and we can just pull the card out that they say they didn't do it because they're best friends. They won't fight each other." Like, come
yeah.
on, this was clear. Like,
Oh yeah.
terrible PFL. Shame on you, honestly. Like, that's horrible,
Yeah,
horrible.
I'm not a fan of that at all. But I will say it was kind of a fun card though. I watched that one. I don't know if you got a chance to catch any of the other fights, but it was actually a pretty solid card.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's great.
Dude, do you
Like,
see Sadabusi? He got this crazy spinning back kick knockout of
oh,
Shane
that was
Baszler.
grody, bro.
That was incredible, man.
That was filthy.
And then Olivier Aubin-Mercier landed a bomb of a knee, just caught Anthony Romero coming in, timed it perfectly, and just landed a huge knee. There's this other one. This dude, Naib Lopez, he lost the fight to Magomed Umalatov. But man, I've never seen anybody take the amount of punishment that Naib Lopez took. Like he was getting destroyed and had nothing to offer in return and somehow survived it. So shout out to him for taking all that damage. But even though he looked awful, I will say he did not. He is not a very skilled fighter, and he was 16-0 coming into this, which is shocking. I'm not sure who he was fighting. When he beat all those guys, but he did not look very good.
I'm looking at the PFL playoffs right now. I had no idea that Impa Kasanganai is in the light heavyweight bracket.
Dude, yeah.
He was fighting welterweight at the end of his UFC career.
The guy on the receiving end of probably the best knockout in UFC history. That's how I'll always remember Mpe Kasanganay,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a good guy, but
Oh, I'm sure he's great, but light heavyweight,
yeah,
that shows the lack of depth in PFL.
that's pretty wild. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane. But
Did you caught some of the one championship fights too, right?
I saw the highlights. What Anatoly Malikin beat Boulard. That was just a beat
Dude,
down, bro.
he beat the crap out of Bular. I mean, I don't think Bular was the most talented guy coming into
Oh
that.
no.
Like he beat Brandon Vera to win the heavyweight title. And look, Brandon Vera he's pretty washed, man. Like he was a light heavyweight in the UFC and he was losing a lot near the end of his UFC career. And that was a long time ago. And so for him to be the heavyweight champion and one, it just kind of shows you the state of the heavyweight division over there. But I think Anatoly Malikin, like he's actually a pretty talented guy. His cardio is good for how big he is, and he's very dangerous. He is
He
a
throws
very
hard,
powerful
man.
guy. Yeah.
Um, back to
He's
PFL real quick. Clay Collard and Shane Burgos to open up the lightweight playoffs, bro. That has
yeah,
heater written all over it. I can't wait. And then you got Olivier Aubin Messier going up against Bruno Miranda.
good
Woo,
fights. Yeah,
woo,
Clay
great.
Clay Collard, man, he beat the crap out of Stevie Ray on that card too. He finished him, and I think Stevie Ray retired after that. Like Collard just really took it to him.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like lots of great stuff. Yeah, it's fun.
Oh,
Uh,
I want to ask you, what do you think about this whole Musk versus Zuckerberg talk?
here's my thing with Dana. I think, I mean, he said it's all going to go to charity, so it's not really like a gimmick fight. Like, I'd be, I'm all for it. If it's going to charity, why not?
Yeah, I think it's nice. I would still consider it a gimmick fight just because these are not two professionally trained high level fighters. It's just two extremely wealthy guys who kind of want to fight each other. I still think it's a gimmick, but if it's going to charity, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I just
Yeah, I don't
think
have the
just
UFC
just be
promoting
upfront,
it.
you know.
I don't have a problem with the UFC promoting it if it's a charity thing. Like, do it. That'd
Yeah,
be awesome.
yeah.
Did you see Sean Strickland beat up the dude from the street on Twitter?
Yeah, yeah. I did see
He
that.
threw the dude from the street threw a pretty good leg kick, but and the fact it's his fight week and he's doing this, like,
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
dude, Sean Strickland's nuts.
Yeah.
He is not a normal. I think you'd agree. He is not a normal human being.
Do you remember that guy, Charlie Zelenoff, who would just talk constant crap about people, and then he would go in there and just get beat up by like actual professional fighters? If anyone ever wants a good laugh, just go to YouTube and look up Charlie Zelenoff fights, and it's just him just getting beat up over and over. He's a terrible fighter, but it's pretty funny. Kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Oh, okay. So I'm on MMA fighting. All right, is MMA fighting the best MMA news website? I think it
Uh,
is.
I personally am a big Bloody Elbow guy. I love Bloody
Bloody
Elbow.
elbow guy, huh? Not
Yeah.
MMA Mania though. Okay.
No, no.
No,
Although
no MMA mania for
they
you.
are under the same umbrella, I think. But Bloody Elbow is actually now independent, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's right. SB Nation owns MMA Fighting and MMA Mania.
Yeah.
MMA Junkie School. Shout out John Morgan, man. He came on the podcast. That was actually really cool of him.
Hey, nice. Yeah.
He responded to the DM like 7 months later
All right.
because he was
Hey,
he
he's a
was in
busy guy.
he was in quarantine in the hotel in Abu Dhabi and he was scrolling through his DMs. He's like, "Yeah, man, sure. Here's my email. Let's set up a time." And he spent like 25 minutes with me and Daniel Woods. It was
Dude,
awesome.
that's sweet. Yeah, John
He's a
Morgan's
cool
awesome.
dude. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Um, I recommend you watch it. He's a cool story. But so I'm on MMA fighting, and so this is about Natan Schulte and Manfio. The man is Schulte wrote on Twitter that I'm very unsatisfied with the decision. Of course, as you should be. That was taken by PFL last night to favor Shane Burgos and entry into the playoffs. You remember Francis Ngannou's fight against Derek Lewis? He didn't throw 6 punches the whole fight, and he wasn't cut for his performance that night. So I ask you, Francis Ngannou, since you protect the rights of fighters, do you think this decision is correct? I
That's
love it.
Dude, I like it too. That's scathing, man. But that it needed to be said. Someone has to say it, and I think he's absolutely correct. That was not the right move by PFL, and
Yeah,
I think they have to go back and do something to change
yeah,
that because you
and
can't. I mean, I don't know. You can't just promise a guy gets into the playoffs with a victory like that and then just take it away from him, even though he won. He won the fight.
yeah, he won the fight. And his manager said to make a subjective decision like this from a promoter that stakes its claim in fighter advocacy is just a bad look, in my opinion. Judges make bad calls all the time with less repercussion. Raush and Natan are best friends and have been exclusive training partners for years together. Natan is the godfather of Raush's daughter. To say that they know each other's styles, tricks, and techniques inside and out is a gross understatement. Situations like bad style matchups and lackluster fights happen in the sport all the time, but the unique thing about the PFL and the tournament point format is that it would sort itself out on its own end. Our client got half his pay and 0 points to move forward in the tournament. This is distasteful and unnecessary. Yes.
That
Yes.
summarized it perfectly. I 100% agree with
Perfect.
that. Yeah.
We can't say much more than that. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And now they won't get to compete for $1,000,000.
Yeah. It's messed
Shame on
up.
you, PFL.
It is really messed up.
Shame. Shame, shame.
Oh,
Stevie Ray has retired.
yeah. Probably a good idea.
You can say that again. Jeez. He should have retired a long time ago, probably.
Was it Stevie Ray though who got that weird submission over Anthony Pettis in PFL where it was like I don't even know what it was. It was like just a body triangle from the bottom, I think, and he submitted to it. It was very odd, but
Um, it was he beat him by Twister.
oh, hey, nice.
And then he lost his last 3 fights against Natan Schulte, Olivier Aubin Mercier, and Clay Collard.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
So and then shout out Stevie Ray, man. Saw a career.
Yeah,
Saw a
good
career.
career. Fun guy.
Uh
Yeah. Uh, when you brought up, or we were talking about Bloody Elbow, I was scrolling through here. I see that Luke Rockhold says he would kill Alex Pereira. He said, "Give me 10 seconds on the ground, and I would kill him." Yeah, Luke. Yeah.
here's my thing. If he did manage to get to the ground in the first 10 seconds, it's over, bro. Like he is submitting Alex Pereira.
And probably.
I don't think that's an unfair statement to make. However, you are notorious for eating left hooks, bro.
Yeah. That's a horrible matchup for him. I don't. Luke Rockhold just got to hang him up. At this point, why is he still fighting anybody? You know, especially after
Yeah.
the Mike Perry BKFC fight. Like, come on, dude.
Okay, but come on, Mike Perry goes into God mode in
Yeah,
BKFC.
yeah, that's his natural habitat for sure. Did you see him on Rogan? Just kept bringing up Africa the other day. He was like, they're talking about the Rumble in the Jungle, and he was like, "That was in Africa, right?" Rogan's like, "Yeah, that was in Africa. That was not in Africa, by
I
the
was
way."
in Manila, the
Or no, sorry,
Philippines.
the Thrill in Manila. Sorry, the Thrill in Manila. Yeah, that was not in Africa.
It's
But
not in Africa. And then Rogan brought up Rockhold, and he goes, "Yeah, man, I thought about talking about it, but I don't really talk to losers."
Yeah, oh man, come on. Don't do Rockhold like that.
That is hilarious though.
Yeah, Mike Perry's a really funny guy.
He's done a lot of very questionable things, however.
Yeah, I can't condone any of his behavior. Literally
I
none of it I will condone,
yeah, I was about to say we can't condone really anything that he's done.
but yeah, funny guy.
Dude, it's so fun. Like you said Trevor Peak and Mike Perry should go out and BKFC. I think Peak will get murdered, but I'm all for it.
I know, yeah, I think people get beat up really bad, but it's just two guys who do not care about their own health. They're just gonna throw with reckless abandon and put on a fight for the fans. I would love it.
Yeah, oh, I'd love it too. That'd be so much fun. Oh my gosh. Is there anything coming up in Bellator?
Dude, it seems like Bellator takes like 2 months off now and then just puts on a random fight card. I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, I don't know either. It appears that Cejudo versus Cheeto Vera is official.
Ooh, really? 'Cause I thought wasn't there some talk about Cejudo maybe getting injured or something? But
Yeah, but Cheeto
it's
posted
good.
about it on Instagram, and it's all. Yeah, I'm excited about that. That'll be fun.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. I love that fight. And if they put it on 292, oh my gosh, that card is so
That card is
spectacular.
stacked.
Dude, people are talking about 291, rightfully so. That card is stacked too. But if that fight gets put on 292, that might be an even better card in my estimation.
But yeah, potentially for sure. That's what I was thinking. It's like I don't know. This summer's great, man.
Yeah, there's a lot
It's
of great fights coming out.
yeah. Oh, PFL 6 fighter pay came out. Oh. Lamar $3,000. That's
who
it.
who is this?
Lamar Brown as lost
Yeah,
to
bro.
Abdullah Al Katani. Oh my, 3,000.
Oh geez.
And the dude he
That's
he
rough.
lost to got 40K. What? $3,000?
Dude,
That's
30K to show? That is horrible.
that's not worth it. Are you serious?
That's not worth it at all. That should
That's
be illegal to be paid that little. Like,
especially in a promotion like this.
that's
Like the other
unbelievable.
lowest one was $19,000 from what I'm reading.
That's yeah, dude. Jeez.
Natan Schulte got 100K, plus including his win bonus.
There you
Okay,
go.
at least he got his bonus.
Yeah, that's a little bit of something, but still, like you said, he's missing out on that
Yeah,
chance at a million. So,
Stevie Ray only got paid 50K.
dang, man.
His lost Clay Collard only got 62K.
That's rough. These
What?
guys aren't getting paid very well.
Clay Collard's like the poster guy. Like as a PFL, I mean, Clay Collard had like 3, 4 fights in the UFC, but like he's kind of the guy in a
He's
sense.
the PFL guy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Um, Naib Lopez, 16,000 to Umalatov in his loss. Like, jeez.
Man, they're paying these
Zawada.
guys
Didn't
nothing.
Zawada fight in the UFC?
Yeah, he actually was decent too. He was pretty good.
Yeah, 20,000. There's no way the UFC was paying this dude less than that.
No, I mean, I think a lot of people get so fixated on that $1 million prize, but you got to keep in mind that it's $1 million to that one fighter, right? And you got to what are the rest of the fighters getting paid? And if this
Uh-huh.
is any indication, it's not very much.
Yeah, and Burgos got paid 100K, no win bonus.
Yeah.
I thought he was
No.
getting. I thought when he went on like Helwani, he thought he was getting paid like so much more than that. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you do you, man. I'm not gonna judge, but yeah, PF. Here's my thing with the pay. I don't know if you agree with me on this. I think it is a decision that adults make to get paid. Oh, 12 and 12 is too shallow. I'm like, okay, but they signed the contract. Don't complain on their behalf. I don't like they looked at the contract and went, "Oh, this is enough," and they signed it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I do think a lot of times these guys they don't have too many other career options. Like they've put their heart and soul into fighting, and this is kind of if not fighting, then they don't really have much else. And I think that a lot of these contracts, man, like how do I say this? It's pretty much the UFC or bust for a lot of guys, right? Because the UFC is clearly the best organization out there. And if you're in the UFC and you get offered this contract and they say like, look, we'll give you 12 and 12, but if you win a couple of fights, you'll get a much better contract. you kind of have to sign it. I think a lot of these guys are just not in a good position to negotiate. They don't have the resources to get good managers to negotiate really on their behalf. And if you've ever read like a standard contract, whether it be for a terms of service agreement or especially for like a business contract, they are extremely long, wordy, very hard to understand. So I think some of these contracts are a little, it's a bit exploitative, but yeah, I mean, I get your point 100%.
Yeah. So it is, I mean, it is what it is, man. Also, you chose. I remember Justin Poirier said, "I don't know anything else but fighting." I think he dropped out of high school or something.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like you said, a lot of these dudes don't know anything else. Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I do. I think generally my take would be,
but
I
shoot, if
think,
you're that good at something, go
yeah,
go do it.
I think that PFL, Bellator, UFC, I think all of the fighters in these promotions deserve better pay. Because if you just look at how much the top brass is getting paid in the UFC, you look at what Dana White makes, if he's able to afford to give the Nelk boys 250K and buy the entire top floor of hotels when he goes and stays there and have a basketball court and bowling alley in his house, I think he can afford to give a little more money to
Oh,
his
I
fighters,
agree.
you know.
I agree that they should get paid more, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you looked at the contract and you went,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm going to sign this." That's just my opinion. But also, thank you for signing that contract because we wouldn't be able to talk about this. So,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. We love fighting over here at Thrown Hands. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet since it's not common. I mean, it's pretty common that um news is a little slow, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
What do you think about them running back Span and Smith? What do you think about that
Oh,
fight?
I forgot about that.
What a weird
It's
matchup
the
to announce
least
there.
anticipated rematch of all time. I
Yeah,
couldn't care less, man.
I don't think anybody, literally anyone, I don't know anybody that asked for that fight.
I
Not a
don't.
single person.
I don't think anyone did. I truly don't. I truly don't think someone tweeted, "Yo, we need Span versus Smith 3" because Smith subbed him in like a minute and a half.
It's just not an intriguing matchup whatsoever, especially after Anthony Smith's last performance. And I got to see that live, him against Johnny Walker. He looked awful, especially
Johnny Walker was
live.
beating him up.
Dude, Anthony Smith looked like an old man in there. He was so slow. He was throwing leg kicks at like 10% power. He was literally just touching him, and it was a very bad performance. I was worried for him actually.
Yeah, and then I think you definitely saw the what you call it, the video of Smith going, "You attacked my family,"
Yeah.
and then Johnny Walker goes, "Huh?" And then Smith
What?
says it
Yeah.
again, "You attacked my family." Johnny Walker goes, "What?"
Yeah.
he, he was genuinely flabbergasted
Dude, I
at what.
love Johnny Walker, man.
Yeah,
Such a fun guy.
I did not expect the move to straight blast Jim to
Yeah.
work out for Johnny Walker, to be honest. But he's doing it, man. He's
I
killing
know.
it.
I know.
One more
Like,
win, he probably has a title shot.
it's crazy, man. It's insane. And, he built his career off of being this explosive, insane striker, throwing flying knees, spinning back fists. And then, like you said, he goes to SBG, which is where Conor McGregor trained out of. And you think, like, well, what's going to happen? And then he becomes like this refined grappler type, you know, uh, not pressuring as much, being much more calculated. It's like,
Yeah,
it's so odd.
and the thing is, Kavanaugh's a good coach, but I wouldn't consider him great by any means. Like
No, no.
if Conor went somewhere like ATT or Sanford, like, dude, that just shows how good Conor McGregor was.
Yeah, I think 100% agree. I think SPG obviously a decent camp. It's pretty good, but I think Connor was just that talented of a fighter. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure. I can take a look at light heavyweight. Let's see what Johnny Walker can do. You can make some moves. Johnny Walker's ranked fifth. Ooh, I think Magomed Ankalaev has to be the next fight for him.
Yeah, it's either that or Rockage, I guess, but probably Ankalaev would make more sense.
Yuri needs to get his title shot when he gets back. There's
Yes.
no exceptions. My
No,
boy Yuri
absolutely.
gets a title shot. My boy.
Anybody who says otherwise is not a fan of MMA because Yuri is obviously makes the most sense and is the most exciting matchup. So
He's the most
come on.
exciting. He might be the most exciting fighter in all of MMA right now, to be honest.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
Ilya.
I can't
My
wait for
boy.
him to get
My
back.
boy Ilya. But oh, please, Yuri, please. Here's what I want to happen. This is my dream scenario. I want Robert Whitaker to dispatch of Duplessis really quickly. And then I want him to go fight Izzy in Australia, which I think that'll happen.
I hope
But
so.
Duplessis has proved us wrong,
Hey,
unfortunately, many times.
yeah.
I want Yuri to fight Jamal Hill at the end of the year in December. Although I don't think Jamal Hill really wants to wait that long, but I don't. That's understandable. And I want Yuri to beat Jamal Hill, and I want Izzy to come up and fight Yuri Prohaska.
That's a crazy matchup, man. I don't know if Izzy would want to take that fight. That's a really dangerous matchup for him.
Especially with the grappling, I think. And oh,
Yeah.
Yuri doesn't have offense. I'm like, offensive grappling. I'm like, did you see he reversed all of, he got he was mounted by Glover Teixeira and
Yeah.
he somehow, some way got out of it. I'm still mind blown with how he got out of that.
I think his grappling is pretty underrated for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you don't sub Glover Teixeira.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it was the fifth round, 30 seconds left. I don't care.
Yeah, no,
That's
he's definitely got good grappling.
I think Teixeira versus Prohaska is the best light heavyweight fight ever.
Yeah, it's certainly up there. I mean, it's on par with Jones versus Gustafson,
I
if
think
not even better.
I think there were just more emotional swings in that
Oh, it was just back and forth and
Prohaska
back and
versus
forth.
Teixeira fight.
It's
Crazy
amazing.
stuff.
I
Crazy stuff.
I will say I am most intrigued out of all these matchups. I'm actually most intrigued by Jamal Hill and Yuri Prohaska because I think
That'd be
Jamal
interesting.
Hill, even being the champion, I think people are still underestimating how good Jamal Hill is. Just because, yeah, he beat Glover and Glover didn't look the same in that fight, but you look at this guy's record, man. He is a straight killer, and Jamal Hill, I think he's very very good. I
Yeah,
think not
for sure.
that honestly though, I still would favor Yuri in that fight, but
I would too.
I do love Jamal Hill.
Oh, I love Jamal Hill too. Uh, uh light heavyweight's getting fun again. But anyway, we've been on another hour marathon, man.
Another
Jeez,
hour. Hey, you know we're giving people the content.
they
We're
deserve.
pumping it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. But you have anything else to add, Toby?
No, I think that was about it. We covered all the bases.
Yeah, we covered all the bases. When we get back, this next fight card. I think you'd agree with me on this. It's for the hardcores. It's
Yep.
for the hardcores. If you're a hardcore guy like me and Toby over here, this is awesome. Go to the end of the last episode. We went over like the whole summer, but we will find out where Kevin Lee fits into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will. Fun fact: if you don't know it, Keith Lee and Kevin Lee are brothers. So
Yes, the guy who has like 10 million TikTok followers, Keith Lee.
we already know where Keith Lee fits in on TikTok, but we got to figure
Yeah.
out where Kevin Lee fits in the UFC. And Fakhretdinov, like, dude,
That's such a bad matchup. The
that's
UFC hates this guy. They hate Kevin Lee. It sucks. But
the only reason Kevin Lee's back in the UFC is because he switched to Ali Abdelaziz.
yeah. Yeah.
Only reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Throwing Hands. When we get back, we'll preview Fight Night Strickland versus Magomedov. So we'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.